All right.
Woo.
Nagelbear Podcast is up and running again. New studio, new place. It's sorry for the hiatus for all my 10 listeners out there. So I just moved into a new house and got the new studio up and running. So Griebs is the first guest in the new studio, man. Appreciate it.
Woo.
Welcome back.
Glad to be back.
Back on it. I'm excited.
Yeah, dude.
I'm excited again.
Super amped.
Oh, man. All right. So we'll just jump right into it. Blake Griebenow has been on the podcast a few times already.
Three
right?
times.
This is your third time, right?
Yep, third
nice.
time.
Repeat guest. Definitely will be on more over the next few years. So, so Griebs is an Afghan vet, also a really close friend of mine here in Minnesota. So, yes, take it away. All right, man.
Boom.
So how's life going? What's on the agenda of Griebenow?
Fuck. School. So school's a big thing right now. I'm a full-time student. Right now I'm taking concepts of chemistry.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm learning that curve again.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm taking intro to Chinese.
Okay.
And then I'm taking English composition. Too.
Chinese, man.
Yeah.
Intro to Chinese. How's that going?
So I was kind of divided between Arabic
Yeah.
and Chinese because I was like, oh, cool, I could do this generals and then I could transfer to the U of M and they've got an Arabic program. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
But then I started looking around. I was like, man, I don't really want to go to the U of M.
Yeah.
I started looking at other places where I could do an international studies degree, and there's Wisconsin, River Falls,
Okay.
and they've got a Chinese program. And I was like, okay, well, there's one here. And with all the developments, I was like, fuck, dude, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So my teacher is from China. She's from, not Beijing, but one of the surrounding cities.
Okay. Yeah.
And the concepts
Yeah.
of Chinese are super fucking simple. It's just me wrapping my head around them.
Yeah.
So like, there's no past, present, or current text in like how we say things. Like, I'm completely blanking on like the adverbs and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's like just one thing.
Yeah.
So it's like super consistent and like
Okay.
adding the characters together in like certain ways. It's fucking crazy to think
Yeah.
about.
See, I took Japanese in high school, and it was a nightmare.
Oh,
it's an absolute nightmare. So I'm assuming Chinese is slightly like it, but maybe not. Maybe it's a little bit either that, or maybe I just didn't wrap my head around it as much. But I remember because of I'm gonna say emojis. It's not the
characters.
The characters.
Yeah.
Wow, I said emojis. The characters we had like 4 or 5 different alphabets we had to learn, and they were all for different contexts of everything. So it's like literally having 6 different alphabets, but it's not even like you B, A, and D make bad. It was there's this character, and then if you fuck it up, it's going to turn dog into foreign fighter or some stupid shit. You know what I mean? So like, good luck if, and then it's not even like, oh, well, this character goes with this character, and then that means this. No, that's not even at all how it goes.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, it was super complicated. I mean, maybe Chinese is a little better. Maybe
there's some cool things like, so during Chairman Mao, they had all these crazy characters and like the language wasn't unified. Yeah. So my teacher explained it as they created a thing called simplified Chinese, so Mandarin to us.
Really?
And I think it's Yinping. I have to double check the wordage, but that's Chinese words in our language, and there's like.
Oh yeah, we had an alphabet like that in Japan or Japanese. There was.
But there's only like so many combinations. Like you can fit them on this fucking table. But then it's how you pronounce the characters. So then there's like 4 different tones. Yeah. But then it's always consistent. So you've got this spreadsheet of tiny things that you can say, but with different tones, and that's it. And I was like, bro, that's fucking easy. So there's no different ways that you say A or anything like that. You just look at the tone and it's always consistent with the words. I was like, that's awesome.
So you're saying that it's the tone that matters, correct? Because I've heard that it's like the way you say something is how you translate it to seriousness, not him or her or whatever. And I've heard instead of having like in Spanish you have the male and female version of the words, or the feminist, or I can't remember how they say it, the whatever it is, but there's actual spelt differently, whereas in simplified Mandarin or whatever they're doing or whatever they did, It's just now you're it's about the tone.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Well, I guess if you can wrap your head around. I guess you're older. You're older. You could.
Yeah.
Like maybe. Okay. Yeah.
If I was younger, I'd be like, bro, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's why I took Japanese. I was like, fuck, and I suffered for 2 years because that's once you commit, And then I always regret not taking Spanish because like Spanish. So easy.
Yeah, easy transition.
And like I used it way more because I was backpacking through Central America. I used it way more. And then Arabic I picked up on. We went to a 1 week or 2 week course the Marine Corps sent me. And it was super easy. Like the structure and spelling is super easy.
Yeah.
Reading it's probably tougher.
Mm-hmm.
But even then though, you're like, because we could talk and speak it. By the end, you're like, oh, we understand how this is going. But yeah, I grasped it more, but then I know the Japanese was I just was like, God, that was a fucking terrible language to learn. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you're picking up on it, that's good.
I'm starting to get there.
Yeah. How's the schooling? Like, are you doing well with the schooling, or is it tough?
So this semester got a little bit tougher with like the chemistry concepts and such like that, but I haven't like seen any of my test results. So hopefully Tuesday I see where I'm at. Like I think I did well on this last chemistry test. Yeah. And if I think I did as well as I did, then I'll be like, okay, I can have a breather and I can fucking relax.
Yeah,
but like, that's been a thing. And then, so school, going to therapy.
Really?
Yeah. I started therapy
nice.
at the VA.
Nice. How's that going?
Fucking weird.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
is it at the VA itself, or do they have you do a third-party contract?
At the VA itself.
VA. Okay.
But I did do my PTSD assessment.
Yeah.
And then they assigned me 30% through the VA. So now I'm 40% disabled.
There you go.
Through the VA. What?
What?
Well,
like, what are they cheering about?
So instead of 20% disabled like I was getting like $270 a month.
Yeah.
Now I'm 40% disabled through the VA.
Yep.
And now I'm getting like $600 a month. I'm like,
woo. Yeah, man, dude.
That's groceries I never have to worry about.
Exactly. Yep. And exactly the same stuff like with what I do. It's I don't have to worry about a mortgage, or I don't have to, and it definitely makes life it's less stressful. So, and it's like, it's a foreign concept for people, and even in the veteran community, it's like that whole, they're, they don't understand it, or they, like, oh, I don't get that, or, so it's, So that's a long-winded road probably for another time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, man, speaking of all the PTSD stuff and whatnot, I contacted a foundation that does, now they're just doing strictly Purple Heart recipients now.
Oh, cool.
So I'll be going down to Honduras in April and May. It's actually happened. It was really funny how I came across them. They had a Facebook article written about him that they had a bunch of fake veterans applying for it, and or veterans that didn't qualify. Oh. So they had like a bunch of 20-year National Guard guys saying they like deserved to take this vacation down to Honduras and Rotan. And Rotan's this island off the coast of Honduras. So wow, I'm blanking. The foundation is called Warfighter Scuba, and so they take guys with Purple Hearts, missing limbs, stuff like that from Iraq and Afghanistan, and then they fly them down all inclusive to Rotan, and they do a week of scuba diving. They get them certified, and then they actually go scuba diving.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, and like so it was pretty cool, and I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And I've done foundation work with like editing. They've always tried to get me to actually film the events, but I've never been able to. I've always been gone the week they shoot. But like the Jared Allen Homes for Heroes stuff, which is way bigger. I mean, they're building homes and
that's nuts.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like for guys like missing limbs and all this other stuff. And there's a few foundations out there that do that, which is like a huge undertaking.
That's an animal.
Because those are like $300,000-$400,000 homes they're building. Like these aren't just like here's a little
it's
crap
fully
house.
Disabled.
Yeah, and they're big too. Like these are not only like which is awesome. These aren't just homes that are, and they have like pools. Like one guy has like a tiki bar.
God damn.
And they like, and it's not just like here's a little, a rambler with like
here's a ramp
with a ramp. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's a ramp. Like good luck. It's like they build
it's
it.
It's designed
like,
around
like,
them.
Yeah, they're like, what do you want? Like, and the one guy was like, oh, tiki. In his brain, like he had his father helped take care of him. He was a ranger, got blown up.
Fuck.
And he wanted a tiki bar.
Yeah.
And they built him a tiki bar. So it's really cool. Like, it's awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And anyway, so with the Warfighter Scuba, they were taking guys with at the time they were doing guys with PTSD and missing limbs and stuff like that. And then they had to just they had to like take it to
they had
Purple
to,
Heart because they ended up getting so much inquiries because the VA ran an article about them, which is great because it's exposure. But then they were like,
you get overwhelmed,
we're swamped, and we can't take PTSD off of the VA disability because people either not faking it, but they don't know if the paperwork's good enough, all this other stuff. So they just said, drop the hammer, Purple Heart. If you have a Purple Heart, you're qualified. If not,
that's a good milestone to go off of.
It is, yeah, because it's tough. Like it is tough. Like because there are guys with PTSD that I knew that don't have Purple Hearts. Like guys that I serve with they could use a vacation like that, or that didn't adapt well. And so it's really hard because you're trying to get them in that good place too, And so anyway, I contacted them and I was like, hey, I'm scuba certified. I do, cinematographer, all this stuff, getting my credentials. We end up getting in contact, and basically, I've been doing that for the last week, talking back and forth. And come to find out, I'm actually served with the guy that founded it.
Huh?
He was in 3rd Battalion, 3rd Marines.
Holy shit.
He was, it was H&S Company off of Etha Dam, and I was Lima Company off of Barwana.
Okay.
So we know the same people, the people in Sniper Platoon he'd hang out with. So those guys I knew for the next deployment. So I was like, I know all of them. So we hit it off. It was great. We've been talking on the phone, and so I'll be heading down in April to go film I think a bunch of new guys and returning guys that they've had at the foundation.
Cool.
And then helping build out their media and their video so they can help punch out to, obviously get more donations or social media presence and stuff like that. Like even some photography and underwater photography, underwater video.
That's a huge asset to
them.
Yeah,
it is. And like, cause you are looking at the 15-second bits on Instagram and to really push. So hopefully that all goes well. So I've been prepping for that. I've been talking with Semper Fi Fund now. And then like almost diving into the foundation world, which I've never really done before, especially when it's veterans. Like Jared Allen is more off on his own because he's Jared Allen. Yeah. And it's kind of slowed down a little bit because he's just not playing football anymore.
Yeah. Understandable.
And it's understandable. Yeah. So, and then, but these guys, like Nick Powers, he actually, is, combat vet, runs this foundation on his own. He's the scuba instructor, the dive master. He got certified now, and a really cool. Basically, he can teach people that are disabled how to be certified. So guys that are the missing limbs, like they have a certification through SSI, which is or it's like PADI basically, the qualifications for scuba. Okay. So he's got all these qualifications and certificates, and he just got one that's, I believe, is for like teaching people with disabilities and all that kind of stuff. So
it's incredible.
Yeah, it's super cool. So like speaking of the PTSD and going to therapy and all that kind of stuff and whatnot, it's pretty cool. And it, like I said, it's been years. And I was talking to somebody, I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but on that aspect of it feels way weirder now being older, and it's been 15 years since Iraq, my first deployment, and it's been 10 years since I've been out. And it's like, I dated this girl once right when I got out, and her dad was a Vietnam vet. Yeah. And she was talking to me about it. And I mean, obviously it's all different for everybody that gets out. And like for me, I felt pretty fortunate because I had my own path carved out. Like I knew what I wanted to do. I knew where I was going to go. Like I was doing really well at that point, like just financially and just emotionally. And I mean, it was still all with me, but she was like, yeah, it took my dad, like she said to me, she's like, yeah, it took my dad like over 20 years to like get right. And I didn't quite understand what she meant, I was like, oh, I just got out like less than a year ago. Because this was like less than a year ago. I mean, I was 8 months out. Yeah, absolutely. And I had done another contract. I was like on fire. I was working out, like doing ruck runs for fun. Yeah. Going partying every night.
You're fucking nutso.
Yeah, it was just kind of like one of those things where I was like, I was just hitting the groove, you know.
You're in the zone.
Yeah, in the zone, yeah. And it was just, it was kind of weird. And, I didn't quite understand it. Now, 15 years later, like I get more what she meant by that, or like how her dad felt. Like you're almost like it almost gets worse with time, but it almost comes back.
Yes,
it's weird.
Absolutely.
Like you feel way more not left out, but it just feels like it's more prominent, or you feel way more different than you were once you got out. Maybe because the feeling was just there. You're in it. Like
it's so recent
and relevant.
And then the effects wear off. Like my brother-in-law Ryan. Yeah. His father was in Vietnam and infantryman. Oh yeah. He never talked about anything. Ryan still doesn't know many things about him. Yeah. And he's kind of going through the process and such like that.
Yeah.
And now I'm going through the process.
Yeah.
I thought I adapted really well.
Yeah.
Apparently, I was just pushing things in the little box.
Yeah.
And killing it with alcohol. Mm-hmm. And
which is pretty standard practice.
Very standard.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I did the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
so
I still do. So yeah.
Apparently, my brain is super good at pushing things in the little box where I don't even know.
Yeah.
But now I can like actually feel it when like I sit in my feelings.
Yeah.
And I can feel it compress and numb. Like my outside, my outer portion of my body goes numb, and then I can feel it right here, and then it goes into a box, and then it just disappears.
Yeah.
So now I feel uncomfortable in like my own skin.
Really?
And like, who am I?
Yeah.
And there's like this weird, I go down weird rabbit holes now.
Yeah.
So I'm going through like a weird rediscovery. So to speak.
Yeah. And like I totally get that too, and I think and they've had these, especially the foundations that have been around, like I understand them more, like I totally get it way more. Whereas guys that I had known that got out, it hit them immediately or within like a year or two. And I was like, and in my own head, I was like, hey man, like, we all went through some crazy shit, but like I said, everybody adapts differently. So now 15 years later from the first deployment to Iraq to, 10 years of getting out, and granted it's been 2013, so it's been 7 years since my last firefight as a contractor. It's you're starting to, it's like the relevancy or just kind of brewing up now, like it's starting to show itself more.
The after effects of being in the military. Really? I don't mind his kisses though. Like the after effects of being in the military start to wane off, and then as we grow older, we grow more sympathetic and more understanding of the wider scope of emotions and like how things are nuanced. Which
is very true. I mean, there was emotions I went in when I was younger, like, and I identified before I even got out. Like I remember even when I got out right away. Like I remember being like 23 and being like, Jesus Christ, I was a cold motherfucker when I was 19, 20.
Oh,
like super.
I'm just kind of coming out of that.
Yeah. See, I kind of came out. I mean, like, and even then, I would say I was still pretty cold. Like through most of my deployments. Like, it was 3 deployments over 4 years, but and you only think, it's only 4 years, because most people go from 18 to 22 and they're like, well, it was college or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, even though it feels like a lifetime, I wasn't as cold, but it was still very cold about stuff, like about death and about
very
loss.
detached.
And so because there's stuff that happened to like civilian people, like friends, like good friends that I knew, and I was just cold about it, like getting into car accidents, and I'm like, well, they shouldn't have been fucking drinking and driving, and people were kind of like, well, he's not wrong, kind of deal, but they're obviously like they survived and they're fucked up, or some other things, and I remember when stuff like that happened, I'm like, well, that's their fucking problem, like that was very cold, and then you apply it, obviously, once we went into combat. On deployments, it's game on. Like that's where we thrived.
Yeah, that's our moneymaker.
That's our moneymaker, and that's where. And then people that were on deployment that weren't like us, like people that were. So I saw it a lot on my third pump, and it's like Afghanistan really changed me. Or at least I noticed way more the sheer difference between the infantry and war fighters or combat vets and everyone else.
Whole other breed.
And what was nice about Afghanistan is they actually looked up to us and they didn't fuck with us. And so I remember colonels, lieutenant colonels, and captains and people that weren't a part of our group that tagged along because they wanted to tag along, but they knew full well who was in charge. And it was such a weird feeling, but at the same time felt right because I was 22. And I got these people in their 30s that are not only enlisted, but are officers that are asking me, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Yep. Or if I walked up to them, I said, get over there, stay over there, don't do this, do this. They said, okay. And they didn't question it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's such a weird thing for them to, and they look at you like, yeah, okay, am I doing something right? And like, thanks, thank you. Yeah. And you're like, because in their head, they're like, I'm trying to stay alive. And in my head, I'm trying to do my job.
Yeah.
Like death wasn't like, didn't bother me. And it still doesn't, but especially at that point, like it wasn't. And you definitely think about things more. Like 10 years later, I think about it way more than I did back then. Like it was, you feel it and then you push it off. Like it's kind of, especially all those feelings on deployment. And when on deployment was like do or die, I don't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. It's very, 10, 15 years later now, thinking and talking about it, it's much more prominent. And I feel the same way too. And like obviously like I have like had like weird panic attacks over the last like few months Or it wasn't, I shouldn't say a few months. It was when I got back from a Kuwait deployment, when we got back. So I'm seeing a cardiologist just to make sure it's not physical, like it's nothing wrong with me.
I think it's mental.
Yeah, it's mental. That's what I'm saying is like we're ruling out, like I'm already kind of ruled it out that it's not physical.
Yeah.
It's a mental nervous system type situation. And at the end of the month here, I have a heart monitor thing, and they'll be like, yeah, you're, because they've already done that. Like they've done ultrasounds and everything. They're like, you're completely healthy. And I'm running 5-6 miles a day, so it has nothing to do with that.
Oh yeah.
And so and I've already ruled that out. So it's now more. It's like, okay, so what do I go from here? Do I go see it? Like in your case, like should I go see a therapist?
Do it.
Yeah,
absolutely, dude.
So, so if I'm like 33 now or 32, going on 30, I might as well.
Yeah,
I got nothing.
100%. You really got to do it because I have to recall the colonel's name. I'll look at it while I am Googling. So you've read On Combat?
No, I haven't. I need to. I had the book
On Combat by Colonel Dave Grossman.
Yep.
So Angie was super critical of me for not going elaborately into the podcast, and she's like, "You really have a platform to explain things to people."
Yeah.
And I really want you to do it. I'm like, all right, I understand. So I'm going to try and be better about it.
No, totally.
Colonel Dave Grossman wrote 2 books, one on combat, one on killing.
Yeah.
I read On Combat.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes through like the psychological aspects
and
of
I've
it.
heard that On Combat's way better than On Killing, because we were recommended On Killing. And then he came out with On Combat, but nobody really knew about it. And then I remember hearing about it. I was like, oh, I got to read, because people that did read both, they're like, don't read On Killing, read On Combat.
On Combat is
On
fucking
Combat
incredible.
Relates way more than On Killing. On Killing, I guess, was more
80s and 90s.
Yeah, and then he does On Combat, and I need to read that. Just I think that'd be a good read.
I used to like talk to some of my soldiers about like some of the things through it, like, all right, your mental state is in green, your mental state is in amber, red, hardlining black, and then there's like a weird gray zone where it's like the flow. Yeah.
And there's like people that can operate in the black. 'Cause I remember hearing that, the green, red, or black, or whatever it is, the amber, and being in like people that can operate in the black. Yeah. And that's where like, obviously when you're a combat guy, warfighter, you want to be in the, it's not saying you're in the black all the time, but you want to know how to maneuver and
in that
work
zone
in the black. And I remember hearing that when I was in the Marine Corps and being like, and like kind of confirming to myself that I know how to, like, and we've gotten to situations. I remember being like, oh, this is, thinking back on it, that was in the black.
I blacked out. Yeah. Like I don't even remember moving my body in that zone.
Oh, I've done that in my first deployment.
Yeah.
Like there's things I don't remember ever doing, but it worked. Like, because it all came down to training.
Yeah.
It all came down to training. And the biggest one I'll always highlight is in infantry school in the Marine Corps. We spend like half a day or a day, and it's all movement to contact, but not movement to contact. It's all it is just turn and shoot.
Yeah.
Turn and shoot. And we spent like, I think it was like half a day or a day, and they gave us, we had the M16A3s or A4s. And, they give us the rifle, and all it is, it's dry fire.
Yep.
And all we do is flip the weapon off safe. And it's from the left side, right side, and from behind.
Yeah.
And all we do is drill, and then they give us the live ammo. And it's nothing special. They're not even looking for score. It's when you raise your rifle, your thumb clicks it off safe. That's it. That's the whole drill.
It's a muscle memory.
It's muscle memory. And in Iraq, it happened, and I don't even remember flipping that thing off. All I remember is
it's fucking incredible.
Dumping a mag, dumping a 30-round mag, and that was it. And it was. But then the other thing too is I went down to one knee, ripped the mag out, threw another one back in, hit it, came back up, 2 more shots, and then backed off.
Yeah.
So it's like that drill works smooth. Like that was fine motor skills that typically if you don't train on wouldn't work. But we trained on it so much that I actually did that drill.
Overrides.
In a firefight. And it was kind of crazy thinking back. I'm like, that shit works. Yeah. But it's simple, obviously. Yeah. It's much simple.
Just for people to understand, once you hit a certain heart rate, according to David Grossman, your fine motor skills start to shut down unless it is intensely repeated at certain levels. Yep. And then it's just gross motor skills. Yep. And then that's what we're kind of talking about. Exactly. Like training with the fucking 240. Yeah. When I fucking hit that dude out, I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
my buddy with the M14 fucking saw the rounds walk up his body.
Yeah.
And then later on, he told me that it happened.
Yeah.
And we had a scout fucking laze the dude's body. It was like 1,100 meters out.
Nice, dude.
And I don't even remember it.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, exactly. Because you're in it. And that's the same thing with me, like in my battle, like because people were like, oh, you know, they always read the sniper books, and I had an M14 with essentially a DM/sniper scope, and that happened with me. It was like they're like, how did it feel? I was like, I didn't feel anything.
Yeah.
I dropped them and then moved on because we were in the middle of a firefight. It was do or die, and there was no time to celebrate. There's no time to think. There's no time to nothing. I put the crosshairs on.
You're outrunning your emotions.
Exactly. Yeah, it was. It really was. Because I've been on the gun in Iraq. We never engaged anybody, but my heart rate's going through the roof because you're thinking about it. Like, you get on the gun, we're glassing somebody, got the reticle on them. We don't know if they're friendly or not, and we might take a shot. And you're just shaking because you're glassing them for like 30 minutes. So you're thinking, am I going to make the shot? Am I breathing correctly? You know, is everything right? Am I going to be an embarrassment if I miss the shot? You know, and I remember being on the gun and we'd swap each other out because your eyes would burn out, and we were just like, everybody got something. You'd see people shaking right away, you know, and you're like, oh, I want to get on the gun because I want to get the kill. But then you get on the gun and you're just like shaking, and then nothing happens. It's all the buildup. But then in Afghanistan, it was just go. Like, I put the crosshairs on, I squeezed the trigger multiple times, dropped 2 dudes, and it was gone to the next one. That was it. And you just move on.
I rotated through 3 guys during.
It's not sexy. It's not exciting. It's not like, you know, you think
bullet points.
Yeah, it's just
boom.
Yeah,
boom,
that's it.
Boom.
Exactly. That's it. You're like hit, gone. And that was it. So yeah, and then you start thinking about things like, said, going back to like therapy or the being in the black, or, you know, on that come down, and that's when you start thinking about everything. And even on deployments, you don't think about it. Like, I was very good about shutting everything off.
Yes.
You shut it all down.
Yeah.
And then when you get back, that's when you deal with it.
With alcohol. You beat it fucking senseless into that box until it cries and doesn't want any more. You close the lid. It cries a little bit. When you get home, you drink a fucking 5th of Jack, beat the fuck out of it some more, and close the hatch, and then wait for it to cry again, and then rinse and repeat. And then eventually, or sorry, to caveat.
Lay down, bud.
Oh, what's wrong, buddy?
Sorry. Lay down.
Oh, goody. To add some nuance to Ethan's stuff on top of mine, me being a machine gunner, I'm very much more reactive, while Ethan had to practice being proactive, and it's a whole different mindset to initiate contact than to receive contact. So that's a whole different animal, and many people can't even get past that, which is a very sniper skill to have. So just adding a layer of nuance to what you've dealt with. And
well, because I agree with you too. That's, I think, a lot of guys from the infantry, and I think that's probably why we always like to talk shit about either special operations units or other units, because the infantry, no matter how you swing it, it's reactive most of the time. And so reactive, and people have talked about this on other podcasts, and even I'm sure you hear about it. And even and the good guys that have been on that are special operations, i.e. Green Berets, Navy SEALs, whatever, they respect that because they are proactive. And no matter how you spin it, they'll be in the box, they'll be in the black and the red, but it's only for short periods of time. So they're like sprinters almost. Being proactive and being in a proactive situation, a reactive situation, is completely different. Being reactive, mindsets, and stress. And I mean, like, we were fully reactive my first deployment, and that type of stress, like, people always ask me, because Afghanistan was way heavier. There was probably more on my shoulders per se, but it was a proactive deployment. We controlled our own, say, destiny. Tempo and our own destiny. Like, I got to do what I needed to do. I got to do my own kick, or my own different type of, kit. But my first deployment was like, your nerves are on fire.
So Jocko Willink talked about this recently with Jordan Peterson about the mindset of, like, movement to contact and such like that. And it turns into a predator-prey game in people's minds. And if you don't have the right mindset, you turn into prey, and you feel very defenseless, and you have to counteract that by being proactive in your mindset, even though you're not proactive and you're reacting to contact.
Exactly. Like, you're reactive in nature, but you're proactive in your own head. Like, that was saying, stay vigilant. That's a proactive mindset to help counteract the reactive situation that we were in. I mean, that was
complacency kills.
Complacency kills, exactly. Yep. That was a big, that was complacency
Fucking
kills
huge.
was always, that was spray painted across like a lot of shit in our fob. But yeah, I mean, that's huge. And I think that's a big thing that people don't talk about, especially now that it's been 10, 15 years. But the weird thing about the difference between, like, say, our generation, say, like, Vietnam, where that war ended, like, our wars have not ended.
No.
In fact, so much so, there's more combat zones that are not
active
now
than ever were.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever were.
Like, if you are in special operations, and if you are doing, and now granted it's mostly special operations, but you can get roped into a combat zone. You can get roped, like, whereas in the 80s and 90s, it was a very, like...
There were these big name wars, like even Panama, Grenada.
Yeah.
They were still big names.
Big names, but they only lasted 2 weeks. Even, like, Desert Storm, like, gave us that false sense of security where everybody... And not saying we can't do that again, but you're talking about the long game, and Vietnam was that last long game. So, like, it's such a crazy thing to think about because Afghanistan is still going on.
And it's crazy because the Afghan papers just came out that this was unwinnable. These generals knew. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah.
And we're still there.
Yeah, exactly.
We're still fucking dying.
Yeah.
Like, how many Green Berets just got killed?
They got in that battle. It was like, I think 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Or two for
three.
sure.
2 Green Berets and then 1 intelligence guy. He was a Ranger battalion guy who was attached.
But was that blue on green though?
It was green on blue.
Or green on blue. That's what I mean. Green on blue.
But yeah.
So that's the other frustrating part is it's not even full combat anymore. It's more of like the Afghan is going to turn on you and put a bullet in your back.
It's this crazy guerrilla warfare, 3-dimensional asymmetric warfare shit going on.
And that's the thing that's like frustrating. Even back when when I got there in 2008, the war had been going on for 7 years. And you're like, it's 7 years. Like, I think it surpassed Vietnam when we were there. How long was Vietnam? No, Vietnam was 65.
Yeah.
To 7, so it was 8 years. So but I was a contractor when it surpassed the Vietnam numbers.
Yeah.
And now we're going on. It'll hit 20.
It's about to hit 20.
It's about 20,
and it's not going to stop.
It's not. Even though they keep talking about Taliban negotiations. Well, then the Taliban goes up and puts a V-bid down somebody's throat and kills a shitload of people. And they're like, well, we clearly can't work with them, obviously. But I also think about the Afghan papers, which I think people are still a little bit lost on it wasn't that it was a not winnable war. It was on the aspect of the strategy that happened going in. Yeah. Like, you have to have a strategy. You have to have a 20-year plan. Like, and the people that knew that were on the ground were not the ones either in politics or in the generals, because those generals are still politicians. And that's what's kind of sucks about today. Even though we know generals personally that are in the Guard, like, they're great people. It's a political game.
They're still playing the game.
They're still playing the game.
Everybody's still trying to get their retirement.
Yeah, your retirement, or if they even do the right thing, it may not be what Washington D.C. wants, and they'll cut you. And so Afghanistan. And I don't want to say it doesn't take a genius to know this, but it doesn't take a genius to know this. Like, you've been there, I've been there. There's no battle lines. No. Which means that now you're not fighting the populace really either. You're fighting an insurgency, because the populace loved us. Like, no matter how you swing, now they might be on the fence, but this isn't Vietnam. Like, we're not losing thousands of guys a year. It's such a, and there was heavy fighting in certain valleys, but knowing the countryside and knowing the people, and I've always harped on this, I was like, you have to have the long-term strategy and accountability, which was never existed.
Vietnam was a little bit more of which horse is going to win this. Yeah. I'd say maybe Afghanistan is the horse going to stay in the duration for the entire race? Yeah. Are we going to stay there for the entire time until this is done? Yeah. And are we going to go tribe to tribe to tribe to tribe, which we need to do? Yeah. Like, hey, you're with us. You're this tribe. We're gonna fucking protect you. Which
sucks because now we're coming 20 years in, and I mean, everybody's been saying this too, and not just me. It was all about accountability, which there was none. There was none, because it's the U.S. It's the U.S. culture that was clashing with the Afghan culture, which is, we want a pill that will fix it in the next few months, and we'll throw $1 billion at you. And then you have a culture that's like, we're in the long game. We'll happily take that $1 billion, and then we'll never do the work because you're not going to stick around long enough to finish it.
We're going to play you like suckers.
Or, we're going to play you, or even the people like say roads. They always had that, especially in Iraq too, like the contract in the roads. It would take hundreds of millions of dollars or millions of millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars for one project. There was never that project manager cut a check and never followed up in the State Department. And they left, and they would go on to whatever job after 6 months to a year, because no one wants to stay in Afghanistan for that long, because they got family back home. So they write these checks, they never follow up on the projects don't get finished, and you dump millions upon millions of dollars into individual projects that never get finished. And we saw this happen when I was there in 2012, 2013. We were like, Obama was like really seriously saying the pullout. I remember because he pulled out of Iraq, and he was like, we're pulling out. Like, there's a no shit hard date. Like, we did not know if it was going to happen or not. Obviously, it didn't happen.
I was preparing, and I was closing down bases.
You closing down bases, and the Afghans panicked. Why? Because the money faucet was turning on, and what did they not do? They didn't do the projects. Suddenly, Kabul, the entire road infrastructure started getting ripped apart because they needed to spend the money that they spent on other shit. And what were they doing? We need more money to fix our roads. And so they got more money, but they actually started fixing the roads because they realized that they were going to need these roads.
The cash flow was going to end.
The cash flow was going to end, and now these roads are still shitty, and so they were. I mean, they were doing a really good job too. I mean, they were. I saw them working. So the whole time I was there, they were working on roads, which was good, but bad because there was an incentive.
But if we could have gotten engineers to start working on that from 2001, how much infrastructure we could have built in all that time.
Not only infrastructure, but absolutely infrastructure. You're talking about power. You're still going to be working with these corrupt, or corruption is a relative term. All the tribes will be corrupt. They're going to try to make as much money as they can, but at the same time, you're kind of swallowing that pill to essentially create an ally and or build up the region. So. And I always say you almost have to not say flood it with kindness. That's the stupidest thing to say. But you got to flood it with colleges, schools, USAID, culture,
incentives,
culture. There should have been an army base, a U.S. Army base, or a U.S. permanent base.
Yeah,
right in the middle,
absolutely,
in the heart of Kabul. And the Marines, you could have stuck on the outskirts and said, "This is a no-shit base. This is where 7th Marine, make a new unit,
rotation.
4-7 will now be here, and you will do 2 years on ground, and you will go out into town, and you will spend money, and you will." Dive into the culture, because that's what has to happen.
Essentially what we did with Korea.
Yeah, Korea. Look at South Korea compared to North Korea.
It's fucking incredible.
Exactly. Even with Germany, we're still technically there. Even Japan, we're still technically there. So you have to have these bases, and on top of that, it's not like 30 years suddenly we're buying their cars and we're
it's going to be 50, 60 years.
Yeah. And the region too. Like, look at the region and how unstable it is, and they don't like a stable Afghanistan. So it's not. I'm not a scholar, and none of us are. But we have also been there. We understand like what needs to be done. Like, and it's just no one's doing it because everyone wants the short game. And it's not the short game; it's the long game. And I guess, like I said, but that coming full circle back to us and going to therapy or PTSD and everything, you are your relevancy isn't over. So maybe that's the onset delay of it. Whereas like if you're a Vietnam vet, the war ended, it's over. Granted they had to deal with way more stuff, but with us, the war is not over. So we still feel like we can be a part of it. Like, we're still in the National Guard. We still went over to the region. Like, same with me. You still, not only do you have that desire to go, you still have you can still play that out. Like, that can still probably happen. Yeah. You could absolutely, or say if you wanted to go active duty or try out for a special, you could do that. And if you make it, you'll go. Like, you'll go. And I was reading an article the other day about that. That the special operations guys, the numbers are dropping. All due to certain factors, but also due to the fact that guys are burnt out. Oh, yeah. Because they're guys like us that have been in forever, that's decided to stay active duty, and they've done 10 deployments now, or they've done 12, or they're just burnt out.
They're getting completely done. I mean, they're just doing all these things across South America, Africa, Asia, and I mean, God, you can only stretch the special forces and special operations community so thin before active duty and us have to start taking the reins, or that entire community is going to self-implode.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, and self-imploding is just them getting out. Yeah. Like, that means you're not going to fulfill the numbers.
And these are some incredible fucking war fighters that we need to keep.
Exactly. And then, like, the incentives and costs and... like they've even thrown around the idea that we've talked about with pumping up infantry pay and pumping up training and like trying to spread load it a little more, which as they should, and making the pipelines a little, not say easier, but a more known. Because I had no idea nobody, and I always hear it from people that either join the community or have finally been in it long enough. They're like, I didn't know you could be a Green Beret in the National Guard. I didn't know you could be, granted, you have to be a Navy SEAL, and then you can join the Navy SEAL Reserve because they have a reserve unit. I mean, you can't be in the reserves and then join the SEAL. You have to be active and then. But even then, though, people didn't know about Delta or Team 6 or Dev Group. They're like, we didn't know. We just heard it was this. And then now it's been in the mainstream that people say, oh, they want to do it, you know, and it's great, but there's now the information is more coming out. But now it's almost the time that, you know, you're like, man, I'm old. You know, are the guys, especially in our generation, you know, we've gone to war. We've, you know, fought it back in its heyday, and it's still going on. But you're like, you know, I got to move on, or I got to, you know, or you're just like, what are we doing? Like,
am I chasing this pipe dream? Am I going to shit or get off the pod?
Yeah, exactly.
What is it?
Also, what's the mission you're doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing when I get over there? You know, am I just hunting down bad guys and killing them? Cool. Then give me that mission. Am I trying to, you trying to rebuild villages? Are you trying to do whatever? But because nobody knows anymore, they're like, well, we're going over. Yeah. What are we doing? Like, exactly. You don't quite know what policy is going to come down the pipe. Yeah. That's going to either influence your deployment or not, or you just sit in a fob, which is like one of the worst things you could do, you know, like, because you lose your mind. You're like, well, then,
because then it's essentially just Kuwait.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're sitting around, but at least in Kuwait, you're like, well, we know it's Kuwait. Like, you're bracing, knowing that it's Kuwait. Yeah. Whereas like Afghanistan, you get there and they're like, oh, you're not going to leave Bagram. You're going to be fucking furious because there's a war going out there, which there still is. But you're just...
I'd freak. I think that'd be the worst torture ever, to be stuck on Bagram and never leave.
Yep, same. That'd be for me. Like, not being able to leave the base. Like, that'd be rough. But, yeah. So, anyways, I guess we went on that rant.
Yeah, we went on a fucking big old rant. So, was that like 48 minutes?
That was 40 minutes, yeah.
Holy
40 minutes.
shnikes.
Yeah, right? That was pretty good, actually. That was really good. So, yeah, man. So, what else new besides college, therapy? How is drill going?
Huh?
How is your unit?
Fuck, dude. Bro, I just went there, and I was like, man, like, nobody knows what's going on. Like, it's transition time. Like, everybody's getting shaken up. And,
did they just get off of deploy, or just people getting out, or what?
I think they're just kind of reorganizing, like shifting people around and shit like that. And so I get there, and the first sergeant's like, where'd you come from? Like, division. It's like, so you just got off that deployment, right? Yep, I did. And he's like, so are you willing to waive your dwell time? Like, to go back to Kuwait? Yeah. No fucking way. Yeah. You're out of your fucking mind if I'm going to go back to Kuwait. Yeah. To Buring to do EIB and fucking sit around on that base without going off post and all this other shit and like 4-day leave? No. It's like, nope, I'm not going to waive that. So you can do with me whatever you want. I'm like, man, Graham just texted me last night.
Did he really?
He's like, how's the new unit? So, and I was like, man, fuck, I shouldn't have left.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you texted us the other day, or whatever.
I was like, bro, fuck this place.
Yeah, I know, right?
So one thing that I was super upset about was the first sergeant. He's doing CQB training, and he is instructing the kids off of a State Trooper Department of Homeland Security course. Yeah. And it's a very TAP system, and it's very fluid, and there's no team leader or no team integrity. It's just, hey, go, go, go. Everybody should know their job. I'm like, that doesn't fucking work in the National Guard. That doesn't even work in the line unit of active duty. Yeah. This isn't fucking safe. Yeah. This isn't fucking doctrine. Yeah. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. So for people that don't understand, you want to go lay rids? Go lay down? I'll give you kisses later, bud. So for people that don't understand CQB, me and Ethan can talk about it. So essentially, we're trying to control the chaos of the room and control our team. Like, let's just say we're team leaders. I've got my hands on my dudes. I'm controlling tempo. I'm controlling the pace of our team and such like that. And to break it down easy, this first sergeant was not having any of that. I mean, it was Joe with lower enlisted with lower enlisted that didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Yeah, yeah. Which was very scary to me.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, you got to get a baseline too of your unit of how you're gonna do things. You know, like, because if people, like, when we were more advanced, we could go off with each other, but we're also like we'd been on our second, third deployments, and we could grab somebody and know how to flow through a room.
Yeah.
But these aren't the kids that you need to be doing that with. They need to be established firmly in their doctrine before you start moving on to some other crazy shit.
Yeah.
Or any other high speed, whatever. And at the end of the day, the simplest form is pretty much the most effective. Like whatever is the stupid simple way to do it is going to be the most effective. If you try to throw anything complicated into the mix, like I said, what we talked about before, you get into the black, that's not going to work. People aren't going to remember, especially if you don't drill it well. And if things get too complicated, you can't have that complication because things just move too quickly.
Yep.
And you get fucked up, and then people get all flustered, and then you're up shit creek. But yeah.
So, super not happy about it, but whatever.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Yeah. Are you getting transferred at all, or are you talking to Charlie?
Talking to Charlie about it, and then I was like, Graham said, "Is there any way you could move somewhere?" I'm like, I don't know, maybe. So I'm gonna maybe talk to some people depending on how this next drill goes, because I'm super pissed off because this next drill is from a Monday to a Friday.
Oh yeah, they're doing like 5 days.
Bro, what the fuck is your problem? Like I've got school that I'm trying to fucking do.
Yeah. Look at guys that have jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm with you. And that's why I stayed at Division, turned down my 6.
Yeah, I should have.
I mean, even, the long, because I'm getting all my paperwork together for OCS this month. March is going to be a big month for me because that'll be actually when I kind of start the paperwork.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be, June, July I'll be gone, but yeah, man, it's nice because nobody messes with you, and we got 2 to 3 day drills. I think we just have 2 day drills mostly, and it's just is what it is. We go down.
Horrible mistake.
Yeah.
Horrible mistake.
It's all right.
Miscalculation.
Man. It's all good.
Oh well.
No, I get it. I mean, you still got a while though till you can get commissioned.
Yeah.
Still, so it is what it is. You might as well get paid higher. Picking up your 6, but yeah, for me it was just like I'm trying to my fastest beeline route.
Yeah.
So.
You want to talk about China?
Yeah, man. We'll move on to China. Since you're taking Chinese.
Yeah. So
go
another caveat is my buddy who I served with in 10th Mountain Division, 1st Battalion, 87th Infantry Regiment. His name is Gannon. He has been. I just recently got in contact with him. He just. No, you got to say.
I know.
Yeah. No, I'll keep on talking. So he just got back from Hong Kong. He was with the protesters during that entire thing. So he, as an American, was with these Hong Kong protesters, getting in with them. He was like at the lowest level of what was going on. But he was with the protesters against the Chinese government, and just talking to him, it's fucking crazy. He's like, he just essentially broke it down to, this is the new Cold War. Hong Kong is the center place. This is the new Berlin of the Hong Kong or the Chinese American Cold War. I was like, holy fuck.
That's wild.
And I talked to him about some of this stuff, and he was like, you're really educated on these things. I'm like, I'm just watching Tim Pool and Subverse, and I'm like, oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
But he was talking about all these people getting video recorded through their surveillance systems if they weren't covering their faces completely, and then their entire families are doxxed, and then they're all getting sent to prison and such like that. Yeah, and then the extradition laws of getting sent from Hong Kong to mainland China, and then from there you're in a prison and you're gone for life essentially, and all this other crazy shit. And then China, and then the broader umbrella of what we be talking about is China's sphere of influence spreading everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is fucking crazy.
That's wild. And then people just talked about that. I was watching Rogan, and she had
yes,
Lauren
I just
Chen.
watched her.
Lauren
I just
Chen.
watched her a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't finish the entire thing.
Yeah, and it's awesome. She does a whole piece on that, and she talks about she came from Singapore, but she talks about China and a lot of stuff that's going on, and like especially the protests, and especially the Overwatch state. Like, I mean, it's scary. Like, they're living out what people's nightmare dystopian is. Like, and that's,
the
like
police state.
The police state. They are a police state. Like, all the cameras, all the facial recognition. Like, and she was, and she brought up a good point when it was with Trump and the trade agreement, because they're stealing the intellectual property, and they don't care.
No,
like, and it's not because China is they're working their ass off. That's true, but they're working their ass off to steal
everything.
And then when you do that, then you do get everything, and then you get to build up on it. So people are like, well, Huawei is really great. Well, yeah, because it's like taking
stealing everything,
stealing from another country, and then improving on it, and then dumping billions of dollars into it from the nation
when you have the
state.
blueprint of what's going on and you dump billions more into it, you're going to get something better.
Yeah, it's better than what it is. And that's why it was crazy. And you're right. I mean, like, think about it. Everybody with facial recognition technology, face detection, and everything, like Google and the storage, and they're using it exactly the way people do not want to use it here in the U.S. Yep. And people don't understand that. And China is going through that. And you're kind of wondering how it's going to go, because China plays the long game.
Yeah,
they are fully communist in the long game.
They're a superior Russia, essentially, and I mean now they're embracing capitalistic ideas to profit and live off of. Yeah. So they've got a longer lifespan than Russia ever did,
because they're making money. I mean, people are still living, but it's not like Russia where they don't.
Everybody's in the fucking gulags, just dying of starvation.
Especially for the last 60-70 years before the wall fell. And now it's like you can get hemmed up. You live in your life, but you're going to get hemmed up in a heartbeat, and nobody will ever see you again. And it's happening at a mass scale. Yeah. And I think and the other thing, though, too, is that technology works with them, but also works against them, because now everybody knows what's going on. Yeah. It's coming out. Like when you see the protesters through the streets, it's amazing. And those you can't hide from the other nations. Yeah. Absolutely. Whereas the 90s and the 2000s you could, where now you can't. Like that stuff will be across the airwaves within seconds. And they're going to have to answer to it one way or the other, because it's they rely heavily on us, but even though they've stolen a lot of our intellectual property, they're still relying heavily on us. And unless they top down leadership gets ousted out, but those guys are playing it smart. They're playing the long game.
Oh yeah, they're
because
really
they are ruthless, but they are ruthless just enough so people won't overthrow them.
Yeah, just so that nobody fucks with them and tries to kill them and overthrow them.
Because it's always you have to have a big push, and they're just riding that line, and they're hardcore. They're communist in that way, but they also
know the capitalistic aspects.
Is the only way. They're not stupid. They know exactly how to work that system.
Oh yeah,
it's like knowing that you don't want to cut off you're not so hard in your ideology that you're going to cut off the stream of funds. Yeah. But you're hardcore enough to be like, I'm going to make money off of this, and I'm going to.
They're really students of history.
Yeah,
in that aspect.
Yeah,
they're very smart.
Yeah, and they know what moves not to make.
Yeah.
And even though they're communists, they will say, "Yep, we're going to accept capitalism. I will keep my power," because that's what it's all about. Is they're going to keep their power, within the administrations and within everything, and they're going to make billions of dollars doing it, and then they have billions of dollars to use influence on people that maybe, they either kill them, get rid of them, or bring them over, because you're gonna make now you'll be in our upper echelon and protected as long as you
protected class within China.
Class,
and there's so many ways we can go with China. We can go political, we can go war, we can go economic with Disney, and its political moves in Australia and the region, and then
even Africa, Africa mining,
Mexican mining too for lithium.
Yeah,
which is fucking crazy.
Yeah, what was his Ed Cordone was talking about
on Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
Yes, that was insane.
But they still couldn't mine it because the cartels are still.
They're starting to pay off some of the cartels.
Yeah,
I believe.
But people were pissed though but then it was illegal though, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. It was something to do with basically China went over, no one knew about it, and then they're paying the cartels, and then but they weren't making any money then because the cartels were. There's too much money to pay the cartels,
siphoning
and they were
off,
siphoning off, and then it was too illegal. It was already illegal to mine, so it's it was just too much money.
Yeah.
So which is wild. Yeah. But that's China's willing to do that. You don't see a U.S. corporation. Are you kidding me? If a U.S. corporation did that, it would be blasted all over the news.
Oh, destroyed.
And
absolutely.
destroyed. The company would tank. Yeah. Or they would be held up in, the courts and everything. And China doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. So China is definitely the next superpower, and there's so much nuance to what we can talk about for that.
Yeah, because everybody, like I said, it is a Cold War. It definitely is a Cold War because we'll never go nuclear with them.
No.
Because they know they can't. Or I shouldn't say they know they can't. They know it's not a good move, and we know it's not a good move. It's not a good move to go to war with China.
We're essentially fraternal twins living off of each other.
Exactly. Like there's too much involved. Yep. They can kind of, tighten the noose on us slightly, we can tighten the noose more on them, I think.
We have a little bit more power.
Yeah, we definitely have a little more power. I think because of just the way we are, our sheer terrain, and we can self-sustain. And I mean, we could cut off all trade with China. Prices here would go up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But people would adapt because we have a free society and people will figure it out. Or we'll do more trade with Mexico. Or we'll do more.
Yeah.
We've
got a lot of world. We got a lot of world to work with.
Exactly. There's a lot of world to work with. Yeah. So we're playing that game basically, and they know that for us, there's only every 4 to 8 years we get a new we get a new president. We get they don't, and then for them they're like, we'll ride this out. We'll ride you out, and because we're going to be here for the next 40.
All right, years. We know. All right, so if they're already pre-planning out everything, what we got?
No, it's cool.
Okay, cool.
Man, it's text messages. No, China is awesome. I mean, not awesome, but it's a subject that's incredibly crazy.
We could do an entire thing about China. I'd say maybe 4.
Yeah, 4 hours.
4 different podcasts.
Somewhere. Yeah. You could do a lot on China. That's and by the way, they have a crazy cool history too. So it's and same with like say Russia or other places, like they have some amazing history, especially with Russia. You saw play out the entire communist socialist game. Yeah. That
the Bolsheviks back in the day, and then running through it.
Yep.
And then there has to be the compromise of what China is doing right now. Yeah. And then we're going to see how it plays out.
Exactly. And they understand what's going on. Like they fully understand what they need to be doing. Whereas like when somebody's like, well, we went to war with Russia, I was like, we'd crush them.
Yeah.
Their economy can't handle it. Yeah. I was like, as much as Russia, like they're cool people, I'm like, they don't want to fight. They get into it. They just have a lot of influences in the region. They dump money into, like, their GDP is that of like Texas. It's like really small, like a small European nation. As big as they are, they don't have much. Yeah. Or they don't have much to offer. And then the other thing too is that they go conscripted. So if they ever got into a war, a full-on war, they go conscripted. I mean, like most people don't want to even be fighting, even though they like doing the psyops and the counterinsurgency game. Yeah. I mean, we see it play out in Syria. So you're seeing it play out in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. They're trying to tap into like Estonia. I mean, we send people over just from the National Guard to help out with Estonia and other, Germany, and like to make sure that they don't get out of hand. Especially the border country, Hungary.
We can block them off.
Yeah, like
easily.
Hungary is Budapest is that they want to build bases. Because they know like whoever wants, we're like we'll give you anybody money, and like. And those are real nation states that do have an issue with Russia, that they do have a threat because Russia can push into them, and it's real hard for them to fight. But as a giant war, they can't. But they can definitely move in on small proxy states. Oh yeah, and they're trying to. I mean, they did it with Ukraine, and we stood by and watched. So now it's now the hammer's kind of come down on them a little more.
Now they're seeing where the line is.
Yeah, they're starting to see where the line's drawn. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we wasted 300 of their mercenaries.
Yeah, we fucking utterly destroyed them.
Yeah, and nobody, I mean, other than...
nobody did shit.
Nobody did just fuck
Nobody
all
said
for
shit
it. Nobody
either.
said shit. Russia didn't say anything.
No.
They're like, yeah, they're mercenaries. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, that tells you like how they don't care about human life. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
they're cold-blooded bastards.
They're cold-blooded, yeah. And then, but they're going to play their game, especially at the hires. They're like, well... whatever, because they're going to play the geopolitical game.
They're just trying to survive.
300 people are not worth playing the geopolitical game for them.
No.
Like, it's just not. 300 people not die, they go, we're not even going to, it's not a blip on
the
radar.
All right, let's replace them.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, and it's crazy to think about because their tactics haven't really changed. All right, who's going to replace them?
Yeah.
I mean, World War I, World War II, all right, push up the next front line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're easily replaced.
Well, that's what I said. I was like, if there was 300 contractors that were killed, like by Pakistanis on the border of Afghanistan, dude, there'd be full out war.
Oh, yeah.
Media coverage, the whole gamut. Like, they would...
Moabs everywhere within Pakistan.
Yeah, it would be wiping out an entire province. Like... Mm-hmm. And for them it was like you barely heard about it. Like it was kind of like more on the military news side of the house than it was like mainstream, But it happened. Like it was confirmed, and so it's kind of that. Like I said, it's that how people perceive it, or even how Russia deals with it. It's they don't care. They're they're trying to play the long game too, but they're just not like China. China has the trillions of dollars, whereas Russia doesn't at all.
Yeah. Very inconsequential compared to China. China's next big thing. So.
Yeah, Russia is more like the person that just kind of pokes you. You know, they're more of an annoyance. You know, they have a little more influence than an annoyance, but they're not. They have to be taken seriously, but not as seriously as China. Like China is a long game that
it's a very 4-dimensional, 3-dimensional target versus Russia being 1 and 2-dimensional.
Exactly. Yeah. And exactly. Sweet. So we covered China. Geopolitics.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What else? What else is new? Dead air.
Straight at dead air, dude. Well, I'm gonna chill here for a little bit and drink some more brewskis and I don't know, do a little homework while I chill with you for the rest of the day until you get busy.
Yeah. I'm just kind of making some phone calls and whatnot. Chuck's coming over. We'll do a podcast with Chuck. I think he'll be over at like 6 or something like that. He gets off work at 5. But yeah, man. What else? Trying to think of else. You seen any good movies lately? Any shows?
I gotta go see Sonic the Hedgehog.
Did it come out?
Yeah, it came out.
Oh Jesus!
So the reason I really want to see it is because, well, one, they redesigned Sonic completely.
Oh yeah,
so that was huge.
Yeah.
And then also, a lot of people on Twitter have been saying, I mean, it's pretty crazy what they're saying on Twitter. So these far left, so far it's been females that I've seen, are tweeting. I remember one saying, I was in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and then a group of men spit on me and called me a queer, and then I went to the Harley Quinn movie, and then I felt safe again, blah, 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 blah. And it's like 10 or 12 tweets or like copy and paste the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And like it's a weird trend. Like, I don't know where it stemmed from or anything like that, but I was like, bro, what?
Yeah.
Like Birds of Prey, like... How are there white nationalists in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie? What's going on? Like, apparently there's some anti-gay undertones in Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't really believe it.
Yeah.
Bro, what?
Well, that's the woke culture stepping in again. I don't know. I haven't tracked any of that. I'm sure it's. I did actually. I take it back. I did see some thumbnails online, like, some Tim Pool, Tim Cass stuff, but I haven't dove into it by any means. I try to prioritize, not prioritize my time, but I'm like, I gotta focus this, and this, and I'll let the rest fall to the wayside. I know Nate's gonna go see Birds of Prey because Danielle wants to see it.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
so I don't. It sucks because
I heard it's good. I heard it's not woke.
Yeah.
Like Ewan McGregor played it out to be.
Oh, okay.
I heard it's actually decent.
Yeah. I've heard just not that good. Yeah. That's the only thing I heard from it. Well, dude, speaking of, I watched Terminator Dark Fate.
You did?
I did.
What'd you think?
It not as bad as people thought it was, or played out to be.
Yeah.
It was somewhat entertaining.
Yeah. I heard it was entertaining.
It was entertaining. It was actually kind of entertaining. I actually enjoyed some of it. It definitely though was like you could definitely tell the way when they shot it or what time period it's in, because they are definitely playing the I don't want to say politically correct card, but the woke card. They are. It was kind of, but even then though, because there's just, and the other thing too is like we don't like the same. I think the other thing that people hated on it, rightfully so, and why they should hate on it, and I think all the other woke culture stuff got wrapped into it as well, even though there was some very entertaining aspects of it. It's the same shit over and over. Like, I don't care anymore about Terminators going back in time.
Yeah.
Like, it's done. Like, be done with it.
I want the fight.
Yeah, give me the Terminator Salvation. Like, they should have kept going with that.
They should.
Because they keep it's like 4 of the same films.
Yeah.
And I don't know what, and obviously whenever you see James Cameron, if it's not the original writer-director directing it, it's not going to be good. It's not. And Tim Miller, he did an alright job with it. There were some cool fight scenes, but it was just stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, right out the gate, spoiler alert, they killed John Connor.
Yeah, John Connor right out the beginning.
By the way, that scene looks amazing.
I heard the CGI was just incredible, like groundbreaking.
Flawless. It is flawless. Like, God, I watched it, and it's insane. Like,
I was waiting for your reaction on that.
I was actually like, God damn, that was great. It was so good. Like, just the seat, like having John Connor, like it's like they shot that in
real life.
In real life.
That's
like that.
fucking
Like,
cool.
they shot that back in '92. Like, it was so cool.
Wow.
Like, the CG was amazing. But again, It's dumb. Like, it's stupid. Okay, so all this whole entire thing about John Connor and John Connor and John Connor, and you kill him off. And clearly they're trying to make a statement with, like, all right,
we don't give a fuck about this white boy male, and we can just replace him with anybody, and they'll be a fucking hero.
Yeah, and they have the Latino, like, chick.
I'm going to stand, and I'm going to fight.
Yeah, and it's bad. She's not a... And, like, maybe she's a good actress.
Yeah, in other things.
In other things, but, like, her character is not good. Like,
no.
And they show her, like, in the future being a leader. It's terrible. Like, it's so bad. Like,
I might have to rent this tonight.
Yeah, she'd just go, like, hey, let's all get together and fight them. I'm like, that's not a leadership quality. Like, any dipshit could go,
really?
Like, maybe we should get together and, like, not fight each other. And, and it's so... She has no, like, I don't say you have to have a military background, but, like, John Connor was trained by his mom. Like, I'm like, in Terminator
there's that backstory that's been developed.
There's a backstory of, like, she was training him. He knows weapons. He knows tactics. Even though he's not a military general, he becomes one because she knows he has to. Yeah. And so she's training him on all these tactics.
And she was messing around with all these military dudes, like, learning off of them. And that's a huge depth to who Sarah Connor was.
Exactly. And whereas, like, this, like, actress... She doesn't have any depth. She doesn't have any of that. And it's just, but the female, or not female Terminator, she's basically a hybrid.
The hybrid, yeah.
Which, by the way, the concepts they had were amazing. Like, the cool thing, like, they actually showed some future battles. Looks super cool. It's almost like, you're like, wow, the Terminators are wiping you guys out because they're so advanced, They're like split. They're like have like these tentacles. And but at the same time, though, they're like, she's dying and she's like, turn me into a Terminator, and they can do that. And I was like, God, that's kind of a cool concept.
Like siphoning off of Skynet to learn this technology.
Or they turn her into one, but then like there's consequences to it. Like her body. Like
the cheetah theory thing, like she can only do the long sprints.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there was the theory of, if you can't kill it within 2 minutes, you're gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, whatever.
And like, so I kind of like that concept.
That's kind of cool in a sense.
Yeah, in a sense. But I don't want to see that going back in time anymore. I want to see that play out. Like I want to see
now.
I want to see the battles. I want
Normandy right now with Skynet.
Exactly. And whereas Terminator Salvation kind of gave you that. It wasn't the best movie, but but at least put you in the future. Like there's no more going back in time. There's no more like they had the concept of a human Terminator.
Yeah, right there.
So it's not even new to
exactly.
Dark Fate. So you're like, and so you're running out of ideas. The whole thing of like, even like Arnold Schwarzenegger played it really well with like.
I heard he did.
Yeah, he played it
with Carl.
Yeah, with Carl. He has a family,
and he hangs curtains.
Yeah, he's like, and all that's really funny, and it's actually. It's good. Like
I heard he did well in it.
He did, yeah. And so that's what I'm saying is like it's just not a good movie overall, but it wasn't as bad as people said it was. But I definitely agree on the aspect of it was so blatant of just like definitely at the time they were filming it was the kids in cages on the border, so they're gonna be like, we're gonna shit on Border Patrol, and our hero is gonna be a female, and now she's gonna be female. She's gonna be a Latino from Mexico.
Yeah,
and you could tell that was a huge influence.
AOC was fucking directing that shit.
Yeah, exactly. And like you knew exactly that's where it came from. It wasn't because there's an interest in a character from Mexico because it didn't harp on any of her background. It was just that she was Mexican. She was from across the border, and Border Patrol and the U.S. is evil, and they're going to sneak into, I don't know if they sneak back into the U.S. using a coyote. And she's like, well, he's a good coyote. I'm like, okay, like
really? All right, sure.
Yeah. So they're playing up the coyotes being like good people, and then it's a whole thing. And you could tell they were just totally playing that card.
Yeah.
But some of the action seasons were really good. It was like entertaining. So like the I don't know, remember her background. I think it was Grace was her name.
The female Terminator. Yeah, I think I heard that.
It was actually kind of it was a cool background. The fight scenes were pretty cool. Like again, if they would just keep showing that the future, like it was super cool. And even like she like when she was a child, it shows that was the other thing too. So she's a child, right? Mm-hmm. So she's a child when this. I guess the Latino girl's like maybe 10, older by like 10 years.
Because she saves her, right?
Saves her when she's a child. Flash forward like 20 odd some years later, looks the same. Like, you know what I mean? like so you're, like it's this weird. Yeah,
Oh,
she's
God.
like, I'm the general now, and she looks. It's not even like, oh, here's like some other famous old Latina actress.
Yeah.
It's like she looks.
It's
same.
just her with
It's
like a
just
little
her.
CGI.
Not even that.
Oh,
shit!
shit.
They just like put her with like longer.
No.
Hair. Yeah, it was. It
No.
was kind of rough. But the overall aspect of it though was like it was actually decent. It's entertaining if you can get past all the superficial shit. It's actually was kind of entertaining. But I can definitely see why it failed. One, it should have never been made.
Yeah.
Because that storyline dies. Like, I don't. Again, James Cameron's like, oh, this will be revolutionary, and I was like, no, it's not. No, it's not. The fact that you're not directing it, like when he said he's not directing it, means that you don't believe in it enough to take it on yourself and ruin your name.
It's a political move.
Yeah, you're gonna find someone else to ruin the franchise because you don't think it's gonna work well. And he did. They had like 7 screen. If you look at it from, like, you just finally look at it, you're like, oh, it's not just. James Cameron just didn't write this and hand it off. It has like 7 screenwriters, which is the typical thing in Hollywood saying, "Oh, this isn't a good movie," or "This story sucks."
Yeah.
And then he starts like talking shit about Tim Miller, and then Tim Miller's like, "Yeah, we." Didn't
I heard
work.
there was a big rift.
Yeah, there was like a rift, like 2 days before it comes out. Like, yeah, he was really hard to work with. I couldn't do my vision, and then cameras shit on him a little bit, and you're like, "What the fuck? Like, aren't you trying to like?
Hell, you doing?"
Yeah, and then the movie bombs at the box office. And but again though, it's not a terrible movie, like as bad as people said it was, but it definitely should have never been made.
Yeah,
like you're like, no, this is dumb. The takeaways, that you should take those ideas and make the future battle movies. Like, I don't understand why they can't wrap their head around that. Genesis tanked. You have Terminator 1, 2, and 3, same exact plots.
Yeah.
Terminator Genesis, now Dark Fate. There's only one in the entire franchise that is completely different, and that's Terminator Salvation.
Yeah.
Why
and
can't
how bad did Salvation really do?
That are the exact same thing, and they don't do very well, and you can't figure out why. I think Terminator Salvation, I think it made its money back. I don't know how well it did.
Yeah,
it wasn't
all these other ones that are trying to rehash the exact same thing are just failing.
Yeah.
So go back to Salvation.
Yeah, exactly, Yeah.
Reintroduce Christian Bale. Blah blah blah. I'd fucking love to see.
Here's
that.
the kicker. Unpopular opinion. I actually like Terminator Genesis.
I thought it was good. I thought it was good. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah,
Khaleesi, what was her name?
Emily.
Oh,
something.
she's hot.
Yeah.
Oh, she looked good with the brown hair. I was like, oh, thank the Lord.
Yeah. Well, the thing too is like, it was funny. It was this action.
Yeah.
Hard storyline to follow. But I was kind of like, oh, it's entertaining. At least it took something different.
Yeah.
And then totally turned it around on its head.
Yeah.
Talking about different realities.
And stuff like that.
And then it was like, and so it was entertaining. Like, it entertained me way more than Dark Fate. Like, it just, because it's so kind of campy and stupid sometimes. You're like, oh, that's cool. But then they really amp up the action and all this other stuff. And like, hell yeah.
With the Terminator, John Connor.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And I don't know. It's just one of those things where I was like, oh, I actually like Terminator Genesis. Yeah. For the few people that did. But God, was it Dark Fate? Yeah, Dark Fate was just, yeah. Oof. I was going to say there was like some kind of, it was almost like the same thing. There's like stuff going on. Oh, that's right. So in Dark Fate, because John Connor gets killed, it alters the timeline.
Yeah, so then it's not Skynet, it's something
Legion.
else. Legion.
It's Legion. And then you're like, well, then it's just, what the fuck?
My biggest problem was...
And they're like, who's John Connor? I'm like, bitch, John Connor is the most recognizable name in this entire franchise, and you're shitting on that name. Who's Sarah Connor? Who's John? You mean nothing to us in the future. Like, fuck off. Like, you've had 5 films based on this, and the 6th one, they're like, yeah, fuck them. Let's do our own little thing. Yeah. Like, blow me. Like, that's not what we care about.
There is something really weird that I thought ever since the beginning. So... Skynet sends the new Terminator back to Mexico or wherever to kill John Connor. It succeeds.
Yeah.
And that Terminator stays within that timeline.
Yep.
So the Terminator is still alive in that timeline.
Yeah.
But now in the future, this Legion sends back Terminators. How the fuck does the Skynet Terminator know that Legion is sending Terminators to the future?
Oh, and I think they explain it. Somehow it was like, he has, because the time...
The neural pathways are still working.
Altered, so he has like, but he knows the exact
fucking
grid
crock of
coordinates.
Shit, dude.
Yeah, and I was just like, okay, this is... So that's what that whole thing of where it just gets ridiculous. Now you're just explaining something away and it's stupid. Like, it doesn't work.
You're killing John Connor for no reason.
By the way, Linda Hamilton, God bless her, she's rough. Like
she looked rough,
bro. Like you're like even Amanda, because me and Amanda watched it. Amanda was like, ooh, like she was like, ugh, Linda Hamilton. There's not enough working out on the planet. Dieting and getting ripped. That'll make you look.
Those Marlboro Red 100s will fucking do you in.
She was like her
haggard.
It was haggard. She's like, and you're like, oh God, man. I mean, God bless her though. She got half of James Cameron fucking loot, so she's been living the good life. Yeah. But man, it was rough, and she was just rough all around, and and I mean, and her acting was all right, you know. But it's just like we don't care that Linda Hamilton came back. Like it was it's the character of Sarah Connor that we care about. Yeah. Not Linda Hamilton. Even though Linda Hamilton did a great job. Yeah. She didn't come back in the third one. Yeah. And I was in high school. That was in 2003.
I remember that.
Like that's literally 17 years ago. We're done with her. Like we're done. She said no to the franchise. Like so after and she's still an amazing. She
died in the cancer or something like that for that. Yeah.
Which kind of made sense. You're like, you know what? Look, where's Sarah Connor? Oh, she just died naturally. Yeah. Which is kind of cool because she died in peace.
Yeah, exactly. She knew that Skynet wasn't coming.
Saved the world, died in peace. Like great.
That was a good end.
Good end for her. And so I don't know. It's just it's like one of those deals where, I don't know, man. Like, believe me, I would love. I think it would be great to do a Terminator.
Salvation 2.
Salvation 2. Yeah, just go embrace it, and that's it. Just end this whole time travel bullshit. It was super cool back in the late 80s, mid 80s to early 2000s, and now it's done to death. Yeah. Like no one, they're always gonna win in the end. Yep. There's always some other timeline. Like the fact that they changed, like that really pissed me off. I actually did get mad at that when she goes, "Who's John Connor?" I'm like, bitch, John Connor, he's the man, and Sarah Connor is the shit. So don't tell me you don't know who the fuck
I might have to pirate fucking the Terminator because I still don't want to give them my fucking money.
Don't worry, it's not going to save their budget.
All right, good. All right.
I did. Yeah, I rented it. I did though. I waited till Amazon Prime and I was like, all right, I'll pay $4 for it. Like I'm not gonna pay fucking $30 to take Amanda and buy popcorn and shit. No, No, it was is what it is. But yeah, so that's our Terminator rant. But
what time you want to run?
Oh, we still at least got 15 minutes.
Oh,
an hour 15.
I don't know.
Did you see 1917? We'll just go on the film route now.
I haven't.
Amazing.
Yeah,
dude. All right. Amazing. Yeah, it's so good. It won best cinematography. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I guess the Oscars. We can talk about that since we're on the film subject.
Oh, the one rant.
I did not watch the rants. I heard about them.
The one guy's rant or whatever.
Joaquin Phoenix. He did a BAFTA rant too.
Oh, I don't know. I saw some of his rant, but who was the British guy that did the rant?
Oh, Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
That was at the Golden Globes.
Oh, okay.
That was gangster.
That was incredible.
That was amazing. That was super funny. He just
Angie fucking loved that.
Shit on him hard shit on him.
And then everybody still did the exact same thing that he said.
He's like, just get the fuck off the stage. We don't care.
Thank your God and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, dude, that was awesome. I did watch that. I watched his clips on YouTube the next day. But no, this was Oscars. They went out and did their speeches. I didn't. Everybody's like, "Do you believe that?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, man. Like, this is an election year. It's 2020, man. They will take their.
Everybody's going to take their punch wherever they can.
They're going to get on their soapbox whenever they can. But Joker got snubbed for Best Picture and Best Cinematography, but it got Best Actor. So
who beat Best Film or
so
whatever?
Best Film was Parasite, which I've heard is really good. But also, a lot of people people that have seen it said it's a really good film. Like, it's a great film.
Yeah.
But they've also said at the same time, like, it's not as good as the other ones. But you could tell Hollywood definitely pushed it because it's a foreign film, and
foreign film.
It's about class warfare.
Oh God.
Yeah. But
fuck, damn.
But the same people that criticize it have actually said that's stupid that they did that. But the film is great. Mm-hmm. Like, so they're saying the film is great, but Hollywood making it the best picture is fucking stupid. Mm-hmm. But the film is great. It's not one of those ones where like the film is shit.
Okay.
But they made it best picture because
it's good, but it wasn't good in the certain aspects that they were looking at.
Exactly. Especially with Joker in 1917 to compete with. Like Joker.
God, dude. Yeah. I mean, that's incredible.
It took home Best Actor, which is great.
That's good.
Best Director, I think, went to the director of Parasite. And then, but at the same time, though, it was kind of like one of those deals where you were, like it should have won. I got to watch Parasite to really give it
understand
it, to get a good analysis. But like 1917 and Joker though, 1917, man, I would have thought that would have won Best Picture overall, but the cinematography should have went to Joker because I think Joker's cinematography is
just the way it was shot
way better than 1917.
I feel back in the fucking 1980s for that.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, and it's like so Joker's cinematography for me, I think they got screwed because Parasite I've heard is gorgeous looking too, but not to the extent of Joker. So, you know. Not to the extent of Joker. 1917 is really cool with the way they told the story, but I wouldn't say that the cinematography was as up to par as Joker was. Okay. That's just my personal take.
Interesting.
My personal takeaway.
Which is right. It's right.
Everybody better listen.
Everybody shut the fuck up. Listen to Ethan.
All 10 listeners, you better.
All 160 of my fucking shares.
Yeah. You had 160 shares of this podcast?
Of the first one that you and me did? I put it on my Facebook, and then I look at it on YouTube. Yeah. And it's like 160 shares.
Shit, you've done more for me than...
also to my old doc from Apache Company, because he got pissed at me because I said Alpha Company instead of Apache Company.
Oh, okay.
Doc Galley. Oh, okay. He was the only one that commented on our video.
I think I saw that.
Yeah. I was shout out to you, Doc Galley.
I was wondering what the hell he was talking about.
Yeah.
No, I'm... Yeah. So everybody's like Chuck keeps asking me. A few people are like, "Where's your podcast, man?" I'm like, "I've been moving. We bought the house."
Yeah. I mean, it's super fluid with you right now.
Yeah, it is. It was just like the fact that I knocked out 5 episodes in a week, and then I was doing 2 a week, and I was like, "This is not sustainable."
Yeah.
Only because like I don't mind doing 2 a week, but I'm like I need to focus on other things besides.
You still got you.
Yeah, I still got me. And if I get into a groove where I need to focus on other things right now, but if I get into a groove where those other things are coming consistently, i.e. work or i.e. my social media working out well or getting stuff done, then I can move to 2 and do 2 a week.
Absolutely.
But I also don't want to do 2 a week that takes away from going after the networking and going after my work.
Yeah.
So once I get work lined up, I'll go back to 2 a week. But right now, 1 a week is good. Like I'll do Chuck tonight. I might do Nate later this week, and then I'll just have 3 weeks lined up, but I'll just keep doing them every week.
Yeah.
Just so there's a nice little 2-week backlog or 3-week backlog.
Yeah.
Plus the studio is ready to rock and roll all the time now, so that makes life easier.
Yeah, you don't have to set it up.
Yeah.
Because you were in a very confined space, and you had to get things set up, and
it was so
you can just kind of leave things where they are.
So annoying.
From my understanding.
It was, yeah, exactly. And so I'm getting this more consistently set up, so like you'll see probably the next 2 months you'll see headlight or top lights coming in.
Do you know an electrician?
I know one in Iowa.
Okay, my brother-in-law is an electrician.
Oh, okay.
He owns his entire company, so I mean...
Nice. No, I can put stuff in. My dad knows electrical pretty well.
Okay.
So I think we'll do enough damage until we were like, we need to call somebody who knows what they're doing.
All right, just so you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, yeah, we'll probably end up maybe doing it for some of the stuff upstairs. Down here, I want to put in the runner, what do you call it, the runner lights. You can move them, they can slide.
Oh, the kind of running board things.
Running board, yeah.
So those are cool.
So I want to do that so I can
different angles and
exactly. I can black out the lights, the stuff, and then turn a button on, and that light goes away, and then it's just tripods.
That's cool.
And then that's it. I turn a light on, and we go. And this stays here, I'll still use this for a work gig, but then this will stay up. So I'm really, really excited because it just makes my life that much easier. My workstation's right there. Throw it on, burn it through, done.
Go.
I'm out. And so I'll post Thursdays. Thursdays will be my post day. I'll post the podcast, so this will come out on Thursday. But yeah, what else? So that's my life. How's your? You got your basement? You started working on your basement yet?
So Angie was over this weekend. I was sick, and she's like, we're going to crank out some shit. I'm like, all right, whatever. Yeah. And she just started bringing up totes and totes and totes. It's like, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? I'm like, yeah, keep that, keep that, keep that, keep that. And then just toss this. And we dropped 5 big old totes at the Goodwill of
shit. Oh, of clothes.
China, clothes, and all this other stuff. So it's getting there.
Yeah.
Angie's definitely going to push me to get this stuff.
That's awesome.
And so that's things cool. With me and her are going good.
That's good, man.
Hopefully me and her move in next year.
Oh,
shit like that.
She got a lease or something?
Yeah. So her and her friend, and you're gonna figure things out, and they're gonna talk again like next year sometime, and be like, oh, do you want to move in with your girlfriend, and I move in with Blake, blah blah blah, and then we're playing off of that, but things are going good.
Yeah, I moved in with my wife. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. I mean, it's Amanda.
No, it's cool, man. It works out great. I mean, having the home is like, it's awesome. It's like it doesn't actually stress me out having a house.
Yeah,
it doesn't at all.
I mean, it
really
took me so much.
Yeah,
took so much stress away from me.
Yeah, like I'm way happier owning a home. Like the whole
all the equity that you put into it is gonna pay off in the end.
And we use the VA home loan, and then my VA rating will kick in all that's extra, or like it takes off the property tax, so that'll happen in December. So it'll drop off like $180 a month. Dude, well, we were paying very low for this home.
That's
or
awesome.
Not super low, I should say. Though, but it's having even having the $280,000 over your head, like that's how much we bought our house for. Just throw that out there for everybody, I guess. It got it renovated, so we don't have to like do projects on it. So it's amazing. It's great. It looks new. So far we've only been here a week, but like it doesn't stress me out. Like Amanda's loans stress me out more. Her student loans stress me out more than this house does. Yeah. Because no matter how you spin it, we're either paying for an apartment. And our last apartment, God bless the guy, it was cheap, but it was a shithole. Yeah. It's kind of a shithole. I shouldn't say it was a full shithole, but it was kind of a shithole. Yeah. Like we were sharing it with people below us. The yard, they had a dog, which was totally cool, but then like there was 2 sets of dog shit you had to clean up, and then there was like they always had more than multiple people coming in.
Yeah,
so
lots of cars.
So we couldn't.
We were always sharing the driveway. Now you don't have to share a driveway, which is super cool.
Which is nuts. And then I had to get all my gear upstairs. Yep. So now I literally take my gear. I don't have to go any stairs. I go right into the garage because I have my studio in the basement. Go right into my truck. I can literally put the truck in the garage and I walk like 30 feet and gear's going in. And like that in itself makes my life easier.
That's so cool.
The entire half basement is my studio. So there's no like, this isn't like, oh, it's half family room and then this is mine.
I can't wait to redo my basement. Angie can have upstairs and I'm going to have the fucking basement to myself. Yeah. And I'm just going to make it a fucking insane man cave.
Yeah. Like I shouldn't say I wish it was a little bit bigger. I love the size of this, how it is, because
you'll be able to redesign things and incorporate it in different ways.
Yeah. And I mean,
like taking down that wall and making certain things happen.
Well, I think I'll keep that one up because we would need a storage room, and right now, if you saw the storage room is comfy, so I'm totally fine with how this is now. I almost don't want to add more to it. I'll add like decor stuff, but that's it. But it'd be cool to have like a basement that has a man cave / bar. But at the same time, I'm like, that's fine. Like this is our starter home / we'll be here for a while. So that was like me, like come from the mentality of like, oh man, I can't do anything to this rental because 1, I don't want to spend the money on it, and 2, it's not mine. But now it's like, I'm sitting here in a weekend, I'm like, well, I don't know if I can put, running lights in. I'm like, well, fuck that, it's my house. Yeah, I can do whatever the hell I want to. And now I was like, I'll have to fix it in 5-10 years, or whenever we move out. But I was like, for right now, I'll repair it when we do. But so then I was like, I'll put in rent, So it's kind of like, and the only thing we're doing is, especially at least upstairs, is going to be the main focus. But just having this studio and just having everything here ready to rock and roll. Like I can have you over. Like we'll get the TV up and running. It's up and running now, but like get it more integrated. So I'll put probably a small little couch right there.
I mean, I'm assuming your life feels more integrated and more whole.
Oh yeah.
And this is a central place for that. Exactly. Instead of like, okay, this is my central place for my life in this apartment, but it's not mine. No, it's somebody else's. Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Is like I said, even like with the stress of like, us paying our mortgage, I'm like, oh, that's nothing. Like that doesn't stress me out at all. Like it's like, and it's because it's 1, it's not expensive. 2, if we lived in an apartment, because we'd eventually have to move out of that other place and the only way we'd get a place like that is either renting a townhome or, which is going to be costing you $1,800 or more, or you're moving into an apartment, which does cost you $2,000, $2,200 roughly for that same amount of space. And so, which is way more than our mortgage. Way more than we pay in everything, including, our energy and everything, and all our utilities. So, essentially our life doesn't change. We're just paying like maybe about $300 more a month than we did. Yeah. That's it. That's all. That's all it is. You know what I mean? So you're, the only thing that and we saved up and we have, money we're putting in, like we're pretty fortunate that we have money saved up there where we can drop money on a couch right away and a TV. And,
yeah.
We'll, you can kind of be like, all right, let's, where people take months or years, we can kind of cover in weeks/months. So that's kind of nice to be able to do it right away.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, yeah. So I'm very excited. So it literally is less stressful than stressful.
Hugely.
Which is like crazy because I thought that like when people were like, oh, we got a house, I got a lot of, oh god, we got that mortgage and blah blah blah, and I was just like, we were signing the mortgage papers. Dude, I didn't fucking sweat a thing. They're like, I was like, where do we sign? And Amanda was freaking out a little bit because she's never signed that much stuff. Yeah. And I was like, whatever.
Let's go.
And I was like, cool. And I wasn't even looking at it.
Hey, give me the fucking papers.
Yeah,
let's go. Sign.
She's like, where do I sign? Cool. Am I good? Here you go. And I handed it off. She's like, I was like, no, do you want to look at it?
Oh.
And even like we were talking to the realtors, she's like, yeah, even if you looked at it and you didn't like something, you can't change it because it's real estate law. So it's like, it doesn't,
you'd
like,
have to
either
nix the entire papers.
You nix everything. You nix the house. It's like everything was done beforehand, so we know what we're getting. We know, So I was like, there's no turning back. Or I shouldn't say, you don't have to sign.
Either sign or you don't.
You either sign or don't. You're not out any money, but you're not getting a house.
Yep.
And or whatever. And it was so if you exactly. So I was like, fuck it, whatever. Just kept signing.
Let's
go. And then it was a hectic ass weekend. Like I was exhausted.
I wish I would have been there, but fucking dumbass drill with West St. Paul. Fuck that shit.
Yeah. It's all good, man. We didn't have too much. It was just a ton of up and down the stairs because it was, and then the second day we were in and out. So we did 3 trips. No, 4 trips actually. Yeah, 4 trips, I guess. 2 trips the first day, 2 trips the second day. And, but it was super fast. Super light, super fast. Exhausting as fuck. But we had everything in boxes. I made sure everything was in boxes by the time we, so our move was done.
Boom, boom,
yeah.
boom.
Yep. And it was funny. Then we had here, and then we don't have anything to sit in, because we don't have a couch. Or we put the couch in the 3 season, which is freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that upset me was about the couch. I was super pissed. We paid like $2,000, and they don't even have all the fucking parts. So
Jesus.
They're like, oh, it's gonna be 5 weeks. I'm like, you assholes. So I actually said that at Home Furniture. Not that part, but he goes, oh man, it's gonna be about 5 weeks. And I literally said, are you fucking kidding me? And like Amanda was like, Ethan, I was like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
But even the same thing, like as soon as we started, we're like, well, we'll just go and pay like $800 for a sectional, and then immediately the prices start going up. You know, and I'm like, and Amanda's like, well, you want to? I was like, yeah, but I'm gonna get really fucking anal about all this shit, and it was super funny, and so then like the people that were working with us over a few days, like we went to like 5 different furniture stores, sat in a bunch of them, like that's exhausting in itself.
Yeah, you got to experience it. You got to sit in it.
You got to sit in it, and we finally, but it was funny because I walk in, I was like, I don't give a fuck because you're going to take my money. Yeah. It's a lot of money, and I don't care what you think because this is going to be.
I'm going to fucking get it.
Yeah,
this is mine.
This is mine, and I'm spending a lot of money. So end up, it
shut up with your fucking snooty ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, do you really want this color? Do you really want this leather?
Yeah. And they were really good though. We ended up at Home Furniture over in Woodbury, which amazing by the way. I love Woodbury.
Yeah. Woodbury?
Yeah. So
Woodbury.
Rich
boy crew.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So we're not in Woodbury, but we're like a block away from it. So I literally shop all the Woodbury stuff. Love it.
Oh, I love that you and me live so close to each other, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then in between is Woodbury. Mm-hmm. So, like, we could go to Cowboy Jack's in Woodbury and such like that.
I love rich people.
Yeah. It's fucking incredible. I love rich boy counties and shit and towns.
Yeah, counter to the culture. I love rich counties. Yeah. I love rich people. I love their amenities.
Yes. I'm really not trying to get stabbed in the parking lot of some bar.
Yeah, exactly. I love dabbling in your lifestyle.
Yes.
It's great. I definitely...
Just enough.
Yep. I definitely represent, though. Because I
ain't rich.
Yeah, I ain't rich. But I love dabbling in it, and I love it. And because it's like... I was talking to Amanda the first because I was going to like... and there's 2 Targets, by the way.
Yes.
All within like 3 miles of each other. And there's a super Target one. And it's amazing. And I walk in, and I was like... This is amazing. It's so nice. 1, there's no one here. 2, it's a super Target. And the people that are here are definitely rich home moms you know, or whatever, or rich retirees.
Yeah.
And then I also said the people that work here even look nicer. You know what I mean? And like we went to the PetSmart too, and like God bless the people at PetSmart in Roseville, but it was like it's a rough crowd.
They're more upbeat. I bet.
Yeah. Oh, they look
we're like,
better. They
hello.
Look, they're much more upbeat. They look better. Like they're high school kids,
Yeah.
and they're not like, you know, not the
some grangy old 30-year-old fucking chick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The twice divorcee.
Yeah, exactly. That loves cats.
Yeah.
And you know, and but you can tell they're younger, like high school kids working, and they're like, and like the whole PetSmart's really nice, and like everybody's super friendly and it's clean, you know, and like even though it's a place where dogs piss and shit, it smells good.
Yeah.
You know, and everything, like every brick and mortar store is super nice from the outside, just looks great. And we were just, I got to go to there's an Alamo Drafthouse Cinema, so I want to check that out. In fact, the film I DP'd for did the cinematography for, is going to be showing over there.
Where?
Alamo Drafthouse.
And which film was this?
It was Robo Dave.
All right, tell me when.
Yeah.
And I'll go with you.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah. In fact, I had Eric Anderson on. He was the last episode.
Oh, okay.
He was the director of it.
Oh, shit.
So we shot that early January. I think. Yeah, so a little over a month ago. And it's a Z-Fest competition film. So it's all...
What's a Z-Fest?
Z-Fest is it's a Z Systems is a company here in Minnesota that sells commercial, like film equipment. Okay. And they actually run like a really good, legit film festival every year where you actually win good prizes, good camera gear. We're disqualified because we're over 7 minutes, and Eric decided that he didn't want to go under 7 minutes. He wanted to have the full film.
Oh.
So I was like, that's fine. That's cool. But we're just disqualified from like winning shit.
Yeah.
So, you know, because that was just the rules. But you can win like really good stuff, like really good camera equipment, really good like prizes. Like, so it's like because a lot of film festivals are bullshit.
Yeah.
Most of them they're kind of money makers. Whereas like Z Systems is like actually they hand out really good equipment and or really good subscription stuff that'll like save you hundreds of dollars. So it's actually it's a good incentive.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's, you know, so we're driving around Woodbury. I saw that, the Alamo Drafthouse, and then they were like, they'll be showing it at the Alamo Drafthouse. Like, oh shit, like I want to check that out.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's it's good. So it's a great area. Like I said, man, love rich people.
Dude, yeah.
Just counter the culture.
I love White Bear Lake, where I live. You're living in some of the outskirts of Maplewood.
Yeah, yep.
Maplewood.
Yep.
But this is a little bit more Maplewood than Maplewood.
Yeah, it is. But
yeah, so
we
that's
are
good.
surrounded by I checked the cul-de-sacs around here.
I was looking at some of the cul-de-sacs.
Yeah, believe me. Yeah, we're not a part of that community, but I love being surrounded by it.
Maplewood is nice. Maplewood, fuck that place.
Yeah. There is. Yeah, you've probably passed it coming down. Yeah. It's.
Yeah.
You'll see it.
Yeah.
And I even told the man that it's only like a small pocket, and then it gets super nice again. Like. Yep. So we're like, whatever. We went to the dog park and it was amazing. The dog park was the shit.
Cool.
I love it. I love paying the lower taxes, but then jumping over a block over, or not a block, but like a few miles over to Woodbury.
It's a big difference.
And indulging in all the great amenities of a rich county. So I love that. Even our neighbors are great. Everybody's great. Love it. It's amazing. Super happy.
Fuck yeah.
Less stressed.
Yeah.
So more of the story.
Yeah.
Find a nice neighborhood. Buy a house.
Keep it nice.
You know, like.
Fuck that county. Fuck that town.
Yeah.
Get yours, homie.
Yeah, get yours, homie. Yeah. Less stress. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I guess we could probably wrap up with that. We're at 136 now. So
that sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
I'm
all right.
About to drink some more beers with Ethan Nagel, hang out for the night.
Yeah, man.
That's about it.
Yeah, chill the fuck out. All right, sweet. Signing off.